Hi there, Jen Clista, Verge Permaculture. I'm Amy Kunkle, and this is my presentation for my permaculture design certification project. I thought it would be authentic to do out here in my on the back half of my property. So let me get started. I love Frank Lloyd Wright, and I want to share his quote at the very beginning: "Study nature, love nature, stay close to nature, it will never fail you." And my value and vision for this project is to create a regenerative homestead. And I want it to continually evolve and align with nature. This is my property in the springtime and also in the winter. And then in the summer when it is in full bloom. For my base map, I'm sharing an aerial photo, and my focus area is primarily the front half of my property. It is southern facing, a southern aspect. It's an acre and a half total, and I'm standing near the top, but there is about a 45 foot drop from the top of my property to the bottom, and that's very significant slope to be working with. So my project goals are primarily water capture and reuse, designing a conscious home and retrofitting my current home, as well as designing a system that can get me to be completely self-sustainable in 2 years. Not necessarily off the grid, but self-sustainable for sure. My sectors are as follows. The northern half of the property I want to keep natural. It's a thoroughfare for animals, and I just love spending time up there. The things to really look at here are the sun and the moon aspects. I love looking out and seeing where the sun and the moon are on my property. And as I'm also aligning with biodynamic farming, having the moon cycles here is important. Very noisy road that I live on. And also something to consider is just really beautiful views of the sunset. My plan for water access and structures is really to just rehab the property. I want to slow down the water, prevent some erosion that's already happening. I would love to lower my driveway so that it's a little bit safer. As you saw in my video, it's quite steep, especially in the winter. And then just create some paths around the home and the property that help to prevent erosion as well. And then modifying my current home and building on an addition. So my zones, primarily outside the house, is my kitchen garden and my herb spiral. And then I want a zone 2 for gardening. I'm going to actually remove some trees on that southeast corner because I really want to prevent them from falling on the house, for one, and getting tangled in that electrical line, but also just get more sun to my gardening space, as that is the perfect southern exposure. And then zone 3 is primarily my food forest, and zone 4 is kind of an optional animal area if I do decide to add some chickens or some goats to help get some of this poison ivy under control. And then my zone 5 is mostly the undisturbed top of my property. My strategies for water include building some retaining, which I've already done a tire wall, which has been really fun. And then creating swales, not only to plant, but to help direct and slow down the water. Also having rain tanks located on the property, and having in the future a gray water system and pumping from the sink to up to the top source area of my property so I can gravity feed some water. You can see all these indicated on my water map. So my strategy for access is really just making it more usable and allowing all the different paths on the property to reduce erosion, and by putting in some plastic pallet steps. And I'm definitely big on reuse, so trying to make that work on my steep property. And then, like I think I've mentioned before, maybe lowering the driveway to make it more accessible. My access map, I am showing just the new driveway and the different paths that I'll be adding to my garden and planting areas, and then the pallet stairs up to the top of my property. As far as my structure strategy, it's really a key component in my design. I wish I could go into it further, but I really don't have it fully figured out. I know I'm going to retrofit my house, as it was built in 1880 and has been updated, but not very well. And I'm going to put on an addition, and in my addition, I'm planning to use some harvested timber that I've cut down and have been given from other properties, and I have a guy who mills it for me. And then definitely using shipping containers. So I am excited to get that project underway. Also, on the top of my property, potentially doing some kind of teepee or yurt or a tiny house for maybe an Airbnb, or just for me to use and enjoy, and for my kids to get a little space as well. Here's just a map outlining the structures. My food production is also very important to me, and so I've created kind of a few bullet points about that. I have started seeds this year, which I have never done before, so I'm definitely increasing the amount of food I'm making, and I'm creating space for that on my site. I've done significant planting plans because I love going into detail on things. So taking a class from Carmen, I also have different planting schedules, Excel spreadsheets, and I'm cross-referencing everything with biodynamic planting schedules and all that entails. And I'm also really just cutting down a couple of those trees on that southeast corner of my property, so that I can really clear that east side of my house for lots and lots of planting, to really be able to eat only off of my property. So very excited about that. I have already started my peach and apple tree guilds, and my blueberries, per recommendations, I'm giving them their own space along the front of my property where there isn't much animal traffic, and they will get plenty of sunshine and have their own space. So definitely excited about this growing season. When I moved into this house, I knew that it was a vibrant, energetic space, and I am excited to work with nature and with the needs and yields of what I've learned in permaculture to really create an abundant and productive space for my family. So thank you very much to Verge Permaculture, all of the other teachers and teaching assistants, and I look forward to our interactions in the future, and I also look forward to the evolution of this property. So thank you.